was a school you had to take a test to get into. It's called Philippa Schuyler School for the Gifted and Talented. So, we had all different types of programs and things going on at that school. But one of the programs that was there was actually a scholarship program called the Better Chance, ABC. And this program was really, really tailored towards helping students from urban communities to get into prep school, boarding schools across the world, right? Like the top boarding schools. So long story short, I ended up being selected as an ABC scholarship recipient. And when I was 14 years old, I went from Bushwick, Brooklyn to Farmington, Connecticut, right? So it was a culture shock in a number of different ways. The first way was that I went from a super, super, super diverse, what felt like diverse urban environment, right? So we had students who were from the Caribbean. We had students who, Southern Black. We had students who were from all the islands, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Asian, everywhere, right? To a place that felt very lily white to me, right? I went from being in an environment with other students where even though we were the best of the best from Brooklyn, like I was the best of that group, to an environment where students and girls had been basically trained up from the time that they were 5 years old to like be CEOs and to make big deals and to request what was required, right? Like to not have any inhibitions about the way that they engage, about the way that they networked, about the way that they built relationships. And it was when I got to Porter's that I realized that the difference between someone who's very, very smart, right? And doesn't necessarily end up being successful, and a person who is very successful and maybe not as smart are relationships. And I also realized at that point that relationships were the equalizer. That when you are in true and genuine relationship with someone, status almost diminishes. Because when you start to figure out who a person is at their core, they start to figure out who you are at your core. What happens is that you align based on the things that connect you versus the things that make you feel different from one another. So I was in this environment where these were girls, again, their parents were making 6, 7, some of them 8 figures. I was going to school with some high hitters, hard hitters, right? And I would be at home and at their dinner tables, and their parents were like not really different from my parents, right? But because we had relationship and because I had access, I was able to have conversations with them that allowed me to have access to others. So long story short, I realized at that point that networking is really, truly about being in an authentic relationship, that no one is untouchable, like everyone is accessible. And this was even before like the internet, right? Like at that time. And now, like really everyone is accessible, and that it all comes down to finding common links, being clear about your gifts, and having a direct ask, like finding opportunities to truly enhance and collaborate relationships. So that's a long way of saying relationships are about connection and about creating access.
And I love that, because that's where I think a lot of us lose the true value of being connected. And sometimes we have powerhouses in our networks. We may take that for granted. We may see them as our childhood friends, whatever that may be, but they are ending up to be powerhouses that we're not using. And then we feel like we're in a rut, we're stuck in something because we also are not vocalizing, or we're just saying, hey, I want help. And then we're not saying exactly what it is. Because then people in your network, they probably do want to help you, but they don't know how.
They don't know how.
You're not being direct.
And I would say to flip that over, like we have powerhouses in our network that we don't access, or that people in our network that we don't see as powerhouses who are, but we also are running in circles with like real and true powerhouses and influencers, but we have limiting beliefs around our ability to connect with them, to make a direct ask, to be in community with them.
That's awesome. See, I think about that, and as you guys are discussing that was one thing that I learned as a child, and it was very something that my dad really cultured us, and I guess as being African American man too, was the culture of look someone in the eye, have the firm handshake, and be able to communicate and articulate what you mean and how you mean it. And we never really put too much credence on that in the essence of growing up, because it's just a parent giving you more directions, more things to do. But as I got to be a man and I got to be in circles, I understood how that elevated my confidence, and also networking, talking to people. And he used to always say, if you go anywhere, you should be able to have a conversation with the janitor or the president.
That's
And he was
right.
just saying, in the levels that's in between there, you as the individual bring the same thing to that individual space. And I think we lose out on that in the essence of, we think, and it all is come from our limiting beliefs of what we believe in ourselves, the confidence we have in ourselves, because we have people in these circles and in these realms that are pretty much eager actually to help or give advice or give time. And we don't know the purpose behind really what we want to do, the confidence behind it. And then we don't have what we need as tools to do. Talk about some of the tools that we really need, that's really important for us to go to this next level. Because everybody's talking about leveling up. Let's not get it twisted. Everybody and their mama talking about leveling up. Used to be like my mom used to say, everybody talking about they save, everybody talking about they, it's the same thing. Everybody is leveling up. Now, what tools that's really essential for us to have in order for us to truly level up each individual, not just in the chorus?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. So I will give you my advice, but I will preface this by saying there is nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely.
It really is about making sure that you are able to assess a situation and that you're able to attach a framework, a model, a practice to it, so that you are able to implement things across the board consistently. So that will be my preface. I say that there are 3 elements of really effectively leveling up and putting yourself in a position to be pushed to your next goal through relationships. And it breaks down into 3 pieces: goals, gifts, and gaps, right? And Charlene has heard this many times, but it starts with exactly what you said, Carl, and Charlene mentioned it as well. Oftentimes, and I work with women, and not just any type of women, I work with boss women. So these are women executives, women entrepreneurs, women academics, like women who are really, really well credentialed and still are not effectively networking. So this goals, gifts, and gaps can be used for anyone, but I want my boss women, like, their ears to be perked up because this is going to change the game for you. So the first is your goals. You have to be super, super clear about what it is that you are looking to accomplish, not just from a networking perspective, but like, what is a goal that you have for your business, for your personal, for your professional life? This goal, in order for it to be effective in a networking relationship, needs to be broken down into milestones, because the milestones are the actionable part. So for you to say, hey, I want to be a first generation homeowner, that's amazing. That's great. But if you are first generation, that can feel very overwhelming. That's called an aspirational goal. I want to own a home. I want to have $1 million. It sounds good to say it, but when you begin to pursue it, you can really get lost in the blurred lines of it, right? Yeah. So it starts with your goal. Make your goal super actionable. Think about all the things that need to happen in order for you to be able to be a homeowner. So one of the milestones may be, I need to have a credit score of 700 or above. Focus on that milestone as the goal that you're looking for, right? So make that goal super clear. I want to be able to have a credit score of at least 700. Now, with that goal being measurable, what you've done is you've made it really easy and crystal clear who you should be reaching out to and what you're going to be asking them for resources around. So that's goals, right? The second part of that is your gift. This is a part a lot of times that we as women, and I'll break it down even more, a lot of times women of color, African-American women, African women, right? Women of the diaspora, right? Oftentimes, we are all about elevating others. We are all about serving others. We are all about pushing others. And in that nurturing component of our lives, we have limiting beliefs around bragging on ourselves. around talking about our gifts. Sometimes we haven't even identified our gifts. And most often we know what our gifts are, but because our gifts come so easy to us, we diminish them. We're like, ain't nobody gonna pay no $2,500 for no web design. That's so easy for me to do. It only take me an hour to do it. No, boo. Don't think about how easy it is for you to do, because that's your gift. That's what's been implanted inside of you to deliver to the world. That's your gift, right? So walk in that. So the gift part is important because you first have to be able to identify your gift, but you also have to be able to communicate your gift to others. Why? Because when you're leveling up and when you're building new relationships, your gift is your currency. Your gift is your currency. It is the thing that encourages you, that builds you up to be able to go and to create networking relationships. Because when you're leveling up, you got to be bringing something to the table. You can't just be a taker. It has to be a give and a take, right? Your gifts. And then the final part, which is the hardest part for us as people, but specifically as boss women, are our gaps. In order to level up, in order to go to the next level in whatever it is that you're doing, launching your business, going higher in your corporate ladder, whatever it may be, going to another relationship, leveling that up, leveling up your finances, it requires you to identify your gaps. This is a challenge for us because oftentimes we have been encouraged and conditioned to hide our gaps. We've been encouraged to fake the funk. I can do everything. I do all things well. I don't need no help, right? That is not how you want to go into networking relationships, because remember, your currency is your gift. So when you try to make up for all these things that you lack that aren't your gift, you're taking yourself away from your true purpose, which is walking in your gift. So what you want to do is you want to identify your gaps unabashedly, lean into them. One of my gaps is like tech web design stuff. That's why I got Charlene, right? You lean into that because I don't want to be working on no web design nothing. That does not bring me joy. That's not my ministry. I'm not good. Like it's not what it is, right? And then those gaps are the things that actually become your superpower. Instead of being your kryptonite, it's your superpower because it actually helps you to now get to the nitty gritty and see who the people are that you should be connecting with, who should be part of your success tribe, who should you be reaching out to bring into your world and to build your power network. So it's goals, gifts, and gaps. Once you narrow down those three things, once you hone in on those three things, once you master those three things, you are on your way to accomplishing tremendous things.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And I just wanted to say hey to Cassandra. I see you dropped on in. Of course, we like to give shout outs to those who have taken the time to jump on live with us.
Absolutely.
So wanted to show that love. And as you were talking about the gaps, the first thing that kicked into my mind was the vulnerability that that leaves us open. And that's Carl's special spot right there. And I know you mentioned, because you have a special event coming up for the ladies, which is VIP Day. And I want you to go into a little bit about how you are going to help us, because I'll be there. I'm helping the sponsor.
Yes.
But to help us really dive into these three major components, and then also walk away with actionable things that we have already done in that day, because it's going to be a long day, but a long day of action, which I can't wait. And then, of course, we're going to also walk away with tribe members who are going to help us succeed. But I also remember you mentioning that you will soon also want to help the men. So I want to understand, how can you and Carl bring the vulnerabilities? Because men, they if you think women are bad, men, child, men,
I got a whole husband. and in addition to him being a whole husband who I love very dearly, his parents are Caribbean bred, right? He is first generation American. He is the oldest of his siblings. and he is also a military service member. So you don't have to tell me about the
A lot going on right there.
vulnerability.
Yes.
I know
because especially as women, and Black women, you already mentioned it, we support, we uplift everybody, including our men, including our boys. So how would that be for just a small tip, because I know once you start shaping that up for that event to come together, I'm gonna make sure that y'all two because I want to be there for that. But
listen, I'm already claiming it right now.
Okay.
Carl, listen,
we ready.
We doing it this winter. We're gonna do it around the holiday time.
Oh, absolutely.
Get it going.
Perfect time. Yeah.
So what is that one tip? What is a one tip, just to give them a taste, a teaser? What is a one tip you can give the men to kind of don't allow the vulnerability to be their stopgap, but be their superpower, so they too can do the goals, gifts, and gap analysis for themselves?
Right. So I'm not going to speak for Carl. I'm going to speak based on the experience that I have with other men. So this probably had nothing to do with Carl. So I'm gonna just put that out there, right? So as I understand it, and Carl, you can stop me at any point. As I understand it, the biggest challenge with our men, and I say our men, Black men, right? With creating and sharing that vulnerability is that they are fixers. They want to make sure all is well. They want to make sure that things are taken care of, right? And oftentimes, in being in that fixing mode, it is difficult for them to hear our concerns, to hear our challenges, and not immediately react to want to fix, right? So my strategy when it comes to that, as far as the vulnerability, is communication, clear communication between us, so that we can understand and be able to effectively deploy as women how our men can be most helpful to us in specific situations. That's networking, that is intimate relationship, whatever it is. And goals, gifts, and gaps actually helps with that, because if I can be super specific with Carl and say, listen, Carl, I have this event coming up, and what I know that you do in an exceptional way is you are able to gather men to a place where they know they can help. And that is the area where I really need you to drive men to this specific event. Now Carl knows exactly how he can help. I'm giving him the opportunity to help in his zone of genius or his zone of optimization. And whatever the other challenges are that I'm having around the event, I'm not bringing those to him. A lot of times where we get overwhelmed with the vulnerability with the men, and when they don't come to us, is we give them all the things, and they're like, wait, okay, I'm trying to catch this, I'm trying to catch that. If we are able to be super intentional by identifying, again, our goal, our gift, and our gap, and to give not just men, but people the specific way that they can be most helpful, and making sure that whatever it is that we're asking them to do is in their zone of optimization. That's also very important. So you have to be able to deploy people in the areas that they love to work in and that they're really, really good at. Right? And then another thing I know about men, you have to acknowledge it. When it's done, you got to acknowledge it, because we all want acknowledgement, right? And you don't have to throw them a party, but have a way to acknowledge the effort, have a way to acknowledge the progress, what they brought to the table. And I think we'll go further faster. I hope that helps.
Yes, I loved hearing that. Carl, you ready? Hey,
I'm ready. I'm glad we're looking at the holiday times for this, because she just unwrapped a lot of things. And men, when she started talking about that, the first thing came to my mind was the mindset. And you hit it right on the head. Men are fixers. So we have no problem talking to other men concerning fixing issues, even if it's not in our zone of genius. We know how to communicate that. Where we often fall, and I won't even use the term short, but where we often fall afraid or disarray with accomplishing things is, for one, the communication wise, and this is where the mindset has to change from it. It's okay to not know, and I think that being a fixer automatically puts in the mindset that I know what to do. It automatically puts the men at an advantage of, I can figure this out. And this is where we come from when we think about things. But how I've really get and channeled that and funneled that down is that I don't know everything. And that's not in a bias of saying, that's not just like committing to some, just like lesser than. It's just absolutely the truth. I don't know everything. And once my mind has already delegated that and understood that, then I'm able to communicate, I don't know that. I dealt with Charlene, and we're doing this website, and there were a lot of things that I had made 3 websites prior to going to her, and it was before I knew her. But I'm just saying the essence of what you think you know. And then when I got on with her and we talked, and I thought I shared some of my vulnerability tactics and some of the things that I wanted to have, I had no idea how to build a website. And see, this is the thing that men have issues with. We won't ask those questions. We won't try to do that because we're always in fiction mindset. We're very simple creatures. It doesn't take a lot. And I like what you said as far as the pat on the back. Most men, and I put those in quotes, most men prefer acknowledgement over a pat on the back because you like to be acknowledged as a man for the things you've done. Because it's taking a lot for a man to do anything that he set out to do. Mentally, physically, whether it's a job, whether it's he had to take down, it's a whole lot going on when men have to do things because that's how we're wired to do it. So when we get the acknowledgement of it, that also encourages and empowers us to move to the next level. So a lot of times women think, oh, I got to pat you on the back. You're a man. You should be doing that anyway. True. We're going to do that. But you say, yo, I didn't have to do that. I could have left you high and dry and kept it moving. But being that I did that, just acknowledge that I did. Next time I'm going to go on. Before I got married, my mom told me, she said, if you give your wife a card while you're dating, continue that process when you're married. And if you do that, then she will continually try to outdo that based upon what you've done. And I kind of grabbed that as a sense of saying, okay, if I stay consistent, if I stay steadfast, if I do what I did to date after we've gotten married, it'll continue to be a fire. And almost 30 years later, it's true to the case. So that is definitely, man, you unwrap some stuff there. So we can go on with that.
We're going to keep going. Look, now you got me. I'm going to have to text my husband and tell him, listen, I've been listening.
Don't get me in no trouble now. Don't get me in no trouble.
Came out in the conversation. But no, it's true. Because again, you know, the men, at the end of the day, and I think a big part of it, and this isn't where this conversation was going to go, but I think that this is an amazing conversation for us to be having, right? Organically, is that I find that oftentimes, like, my husband would do things, right? And I never took any of it for granted, but everybody but him probably knew how grateful I was for him doing that thing, right? So like I would tell other people like, yeah, girl, you always put up my car, you would give me gas and all this. And then when he did it, again, it's not like I wasn't grateful for it, right? But I had to learn that men and women are different in that. And again, I can just speak for my husband, that outward acknowledgement. Yes. So like for me, I don't necessarily, like, I prefer the acknowledgement of the actions, right? So like, to me, like, if my husband shows that he is appreciating me, the way that he shows me that he is appreciating me is by doing actions, filling up the car with gas, taking the kids out without me having to say anything, right? I don't need him to say, babe, I appreciate you, because to me, he's showing it with his actions. Whereas him, it literally is as simple as when he takes out the trash, babe, I really appreciate you taking out the trash. And he'll always say, nah, I'm always take out the trash. But if I don't say it, right? It's that. So we have to figure out the communication styles.
It's the dynamic of it.
We are different, right? And again, that goes back to the networking relationships. Understanding the communication style, understanding people's, for lack of better wording, like their love language, right? What is the thing that really makes this person feel appreciated and makes them want to reciprocate?
Yes. And good morning, Miss Nadine. She's another powerhouse, and she is a connector herself. I'm not sure.
We're in the Success Tribe VIP Day. What's up, Nadine?
I'm
We need to
telling
be
you,
in VIP.
she's in the finance space, but she is a powerhouse, just like Cassandra's a powerhouse, especially when it comes to Squarespace. There's just that, like I said, when you have these opportunities to acknowledge and give the like how you hear a lot of people say, you're giving people their flowers because they're alive, they're in front of you, you're giving them those flowers. What else can you do that your network is not whack, or you end up not being that whack person in your network? What is it that you can do to besides just always asking for stuff? Because sometimes we might get into that mode too, because some people in your network, they never offer to help you.
Never
They don't even
offer.
help you in silence.
You don't hear from them until the thing.
Crickets.
Right,
Sometimes
but
they're
their
crickets.
hand is always out, ready to receive your gifts. But then they're like, I don't have no gifts. I don't know what to do. So how do you really start to build a strong network? Because eventually your network should also transition into a community for you. And and your whole focus is building success tribes. So how can we really, for just maybe one or two, because if they want the full gambit, they got to go to VIP
they
day.
got to come in the VIP day, because it's going to go completely down. But
yes,
I want to give people actionable things, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that folks walk away with action. So if I had to give 2 tips, right? Remember, networking is about relationships, and we can transition this to the conversation that we were just having. We can apply it to it as well, right? Yeah. So the first is, and Carl almost, he touched on it, is that it's a consistent process, right? Mm-hmm. So the same way that you have some marital partners, intimate partners, men, women, whatever, right? That they know when their partner is going to ask for something, because that's when the flowers come.
Yeah.
That's when the dinner comes. That's when I got somebody to get the kids. It's like you setting it up. You're like, ooh, wait. I know something is about to come. Because the only time that they are taking initiative in that way is when they about to hit you with something big, right? Yeah. Same way with networking relationships. So if the only time you are reaching out to people to see how they're doing is when they know you setting them up to get hit up, you're going to get a different reaction than when you are consistent with communication. So remember, to build a true success tribe, you have to know when and where to deploy the right people. You can't do that unless you are in their world and know about what they're doing, know about their ebbs and their flows, know about their highs and their lows. So I am a huge proponent of building in intentional communication points with people on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, consistently, so that when something does come up and you're reaching out, it's just a very natural, like, oh yeah, of course, right? So I talk to my mom, or I communicate with my mom, because I don't do a lot of phone talking. I communicate with my mom a few different times a week, right? Text message or whatever, I send her gifts or whatever, right? When I need an emergency thing for the kids, I can reach out to her and I know that she's going to respond, and that it's not going to be a problem for her to help me with whatever it is, because I don't only reach out to her when I need help with the kids. We're in communication, right? Mm-hmm. I would say the first thing is find a way to be able to make sure that you are keeping communication and engagement with your network consistent. That could be something as simple as following them on social media and commenting on what's going on with them, tagging them in posts that would be helpful to them, sending emails, putting something on your calendar every week, Mondays, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m., sending an article that could be helpful to your community, or an article that could be helpful to people. What I do is once a month, I take different people from my network, I have them in segments, and I send them gifts, like 5, literally $10 Amazon gift cards, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that stuff. You would be so surprised at how far something like that takes you. So I say stay engaged and be intentional about the way that you engage. So a lot of times networking doesn't work because it's very haphazard.
Right.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Let me go ahead and reach out to this person. And then you don't think about it again for 6 months. If you're like me, again, I'm busy in book. I have 3 smallish children. They're getting bigger and bigger every day. But,
Yes.
school age still, right? They're still in school.
Mhm.
My husband is a military service member and 80% of the time does not live in the same state that we live in. And I'm a full-time entrepreneur. If it ain't on my calendar, it ain't getting done. Right? So I
Mhm.
have intentional time built in to make connections with people. So the first thing that I would say is stay engaged with them so that when you do need something, you don't feel some kind of way about reaching out, right? Second
Right.
point is when you begin any type of networking relationship, whether it is you've been following this person for a while and now you want to bring them into your network, the first thing that you should be doing is offering something to them, offering to be of service to them. You can't effectively do that if you don't know your gift. So I'm a huge proponent of voice notes. I love the fact that social media now allows us to be able, almost every social media platform allows me to be able to leave a voice note in lieu of a written note. Why? Because my voice is part of my gift. And when people hear my voice, it makes a stronger connection than all of the other messages that they're seeing that people have typed out. So
Mhm.
I always start an intentional engagement out with a voice note. And my voice note is typically giving them praise for something or thanking them for connecting with me. And then I simply say, let me know if there are any specific partnership or collaboration opportunities that you are prioritizing right now, and I will help in any way that I can. Done. Right? I'm
Right.
not making any outlandish promises.
Mhm.
I'm saying, I like what you're doing. I appreciate you being part of my network. Let me know how I can help you. And the great part about that is that because I have a success tribe, right? I've stacked my deck. Any need that someone has, virtually any need that they have, I can connect them to somebody that can at least get them a little further than where they were when we initially began our connection. So the two things, stay engaged with your community, stay engaged with the folks that you want to make intentional connections with. And then number two, find a way to serve them. Find a way to serve before you take.
Love that. Love that.
That's great tips. I definitely agree with that. I thought my mind went to when you were talking about the networking and how I'm just so conscious in that, and I think that just carries along. I didn't grab the networking game as soon as Zoom came into play. I was a networker before when it was more fashionable to be in person. I always called people or checked on people, or that I was just that kind of person. But I thought of it as being training because you have to train your network, and that is definitely that. And I learned that a lot, even in relationship wise and dealing with being vulnerable to things. You have to know things that you're not good at and be intentional about being good at them. So if you're not a networker, then you have to intentionally put aside that space and time, which you put it and you just have to say, okay, this time, this is what I'm going to do. And that creates habits, and those habits create postures, and those postures create outstanding things for you. Because once you start integrating those things in, and that's why I call it training. I'm a military cat too. So when you emphasize those things that you cannot do, you become good at those things, and then you want to do them. So I look at it, I look at my network, and I get over 10,000 people, and I say, okay, how can I reach them? Effectively, I can't reach everybody, but in effect, I can make chances and trials to meet. I put out information, polls. I do Zooms, at least 2 to 3 a day with people on my network. And that
Mhm.
is to cultivate relationships, not so when I drop something and say, even when I got a show, I didn't just go and drop on people, yo, I want you to be on the show. I start integrating with people, exercise and understanding, learning them, and seeing what they were about and how they communicated, what information they posted, those kind of things. Because it's all a research process, and what you're saying, going in, diving in, connecting to that, and just being involved. And you're training them because they see you doing that, and then the essence to them. Then you can have that call like you had a mom, yo. Because I hear it so many times, yo, you don't call me till you want something. Like I hear different people saying those kind of things, and the first thing comes to my mind: a relationship wasn't cultivated. a network wasn't created. You didn't water that area where you went. Now you just want to go pull up the roots, but you ain't never grow anything down there. So I think that training is definitely key, and it's more so in your network because you're not physically able to be with people.
Right.
So if you're not, and you can't go and ring doorbells or be at meetings or, have those kind of conferences, the best thing you could do is say, oh man, I saw you post this. Let me help you with that. What you need help with? I got it on my my page. How can I help you? Because that's really what I want to do. Because helping you is going to help me. So how can I help you? That's great stuff, man. I'm loving this.
Yes, and elevating the
Yes.
I think most important when you're in a networking relationship, your goal should be, how can I make this person look as good as possible? So you need to sift people out because you should only have people in your network that you know are amazing, and your goal should always be, how do I elevate this person so that everyone else knows how amazing they
are.
And it takes time. Charlene will tell you, she and I met for the first time, like maybe almost 2 years ago through a networking relationship.
Yeah.
And it's been over this last 6 months. Now we stayed connected, but it's over this last 6 months that we have been even more intentional about creating a formal coaching relationship, partnership relationship, collaboration relationship. But we stayed in touch, right?
Yes.
There was consistent. We were in each other's network. It wasn't like we was on the phone every week, right? But and I know also that because of that, I could text Charlene and say, hey, I need this thing done with this website. I need it done in tomorrow. I'm sorry. Yeah. But that.
And Deana knows me because Deana's also helping me set my own boundaries. And she knows what to what.
So I'm like,
if she comes to me, I know, okay, nope, she needs something.
It's an outlier. Right. Yeah. It's an outlier. So, but that's what you need. You need people. That's why you need a tribe. Because you need people where if it's urgent, if it's an emergency, because those things will happen, you can call on them. But that should not be the only time they hear from you. It's a currency. So you have to make sure there's a give and take.
Exactly. So with all of that, and we're coming up on our 45 to an hour time slot, because you know how we do. But it always feels like time just flies because you're just getting into these conversations. We just started. And I want you to really get in and let the people know what's coming up, and especially the Success Tribe VIP Day. I want you to let them know the value of that and what you have planned for that day.
Yo, this is going to be something. So I'm so excited to see all the people that have joined us and for the folks that are here for the replay as well. This day for me is really the culmination of when I decided that I was going to launch this business. This is the culmination, the pinnacle of what I envisioned my company and my business to be. This is super personal for me. And I'm just so excited that we have the opportunity to do it. So the Success Tribe VIP Day is unlike any VIP day that I've ever seen, and I think most people have ever seen. Usually when you think of a VIP day and you work with a coach or a consultant, it's a day where you work one-on-one with a consultant. It's usually super, super expensive, right? But it is a day when you know that you are going to get immediate transformation on that day. So the ROI is a no-brainer, right? The ROI is a no-brainer because you know that on this day, you're going to work with this one person and you started at point A. By the end of the day, you're going to be at point Z. Right? So the time and the effort and the investment is worth it. What makes this VIP day different is that we are specifically targeting boss women. So these are women that are women executives, women entrepreneurs, women academics, women who are in a phase in their life and career where they know that they are on the precipice of something amazing and tremendous, and that it is going to require them to create a different tribe. It's going to require them to have different types of relationships. It's going to require them to be surrounded by other powerhouse women who have either done already what they're looking to do, or women who are running just as fast as they are to the mark. So instead of this being a one-on-one day, the benefit of it to these women is that this is going to be a group day. I am getting a group of powerhouse boss women together to be able to build their success tribe. And there are 3 components to the day. The first day is, y'all heard me talk a little bit about goals, gifts, and gaps earlier, right? That is my signature proprietary trademarked networking strategy, goals, gifts, and gaps. What I am doing on that day is we're going to open the day with me actually teaching an enhanced masterclass on goals, gifts, and gaps. So I am going to be sitting down with these boss women who want more strategy and intentionality behind networking, want to better understand their gifts, want to better understand how to set goals. I am actually going to be walking you through the enhanced masterclass. And then not only am I going to walk you through it and you're going to be implementing it and we're going to be having end-to-end engagement, but a lot of times you go to a masterclass and you're like, oh my God, I feel empowered. Deana was amazing. And then 2 days later you implement it and you're like, wait, what she said? No, this don't work the same. This don't work the same way for me like it worked for her. What she said you had to do? No. On that day, you're actually going to implement the strategy with your own network. So you're going to go on your LinkedIn, you're going to go on your Facebook, and you're going to use the scripts that I provided for you, the strategy, the step-by-step strategy with your own network on Insta, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, while getting real-time coaching, on-the-spot coaching from me and my team. Then after you do that, because you're going to be getting people that are setting up appointments with you, you're going to be getting people that want to create connections with you. It's going to be so cathartic and so much energy. Then we're going to turn it up a notch. We have 2 amazing keynotes that are going to be there. And we're going to be announcing a 3rd one next week. But right now, the 2 keynotes that we have, Natalie Bullen, who used to be Natalie Johnson. Anyone who's on Clubhouse knows Natalie. She is a money mindset coach. She calls herself the mouth of the South. She will get you all the way together. Her keynotes are out of control. Then after her, you're like, oh, Natalie, that's crazy. No, we turn up the heat even more. Sanja Mackey is our 2nd keynote. She is also a powerhouse on Clubhouse, and she is a mindset guru. She runs a room on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Clubhouse called Girl Get Your Ish Together. She is not playing games. And she is going to be the 2nd keynote. We're going to be announcing a 3rd keynote. You're going to get small group time with them. These women and myself, a lot of us don't even do discovery calls anymore. So you're going to have an opportunity to bring us into your success tribe. Then after we do all of that, you're going to do power networking with the women that are there on the Zoom in the room, using all of the strategies that you have just learned. And you will walk away with a minimum of 2 to 3 members of your own personal success tribe at the end of that session. And then now you got me, you got Natalie, you got Sandra, you got Charlene. Once you got us, right? Once you got us, you got us. And we are now part of your success tribe. This is a premium day, y'all. This is for women who are running toward or already at 6 figures in either their business or their career. It's a 4-figure day, y'all. This is an investment. The ROI, though, on this day that you are going to see is going to be immediate. That's why the day is so focused on action. If you show up to the process and you have end-to-end engagement and you show up with the right attitude, think about being in a space with boss women who have each paid 4 figures to be in the room specifically and intentionally to create partnership and collaboration opportunities. It's a no-brainer, y'all. It's a no-brainer. And our early bird price is actually going to be closing on August 1st. So now is the best time to get in. Go to deanagene.com/VIP day. See the page that Charlene just updated the other day. And you'll be able to sign up and get that early bird discount. And that is the VIP day.
Yeah, and when I tell you powerhouse women, I co-sign what Deana is saying, because like even Carl always says it. We don't really mess with scrubs, right? So we're not bringing scrubs to you to say, oh, let me see what I can get out of here. No, you have true powerhouse people who not only talk about it, they be about it. They make sure that they themselves are taking action. So that's what we always hear. When you want to build a strong connection, you want to be better, than your current situation, you have to be around other people who are better than your current situation, because that's not only inspiring, but they can give you actual action tips to make sure you can follow their lead. Because the last thing you want is somebody giving you conceptual advice because they never did it. So
right. Exactly. And Carl will tell you, me and Charlene, I was coaching Charlene before we even jumped on the thing, right? We were giving tips, and I was giving her things to accelerate her process of what she's working on right now. It's so much easier to be surrounded by people who can give you the Cliff's notes.
Yes, and not just the Cliff Notes, and those give you a little bit of the backstory so you can put them together. Because sometimes people will give you a clip or a little one word phrase or something, and then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, I gave you the world." No.
Yeah, so that's what you need. And again, you got to pay to be in the room.
Got to be in the room where it happens.
You got to be in the room where it happens, right? And at the end of the day, if you're a coach or you're a consultant and you want to be high ticket and you want to be mid ticket and you want to charge 4 and maybe 5 figures for people to seek advice from you, you have to be willing to make that type of investment in yourself. If not, people will find you out. They won't know if you're the type of coach that is not ready to throw down 4 figures for a transformation that will literally accelerate your progress, but you're trying to get them into a 10K program. They'll figure it out.
Program. Yes.
Then right? I'm gonna place them exactly in the whack network that they deserve to be in.
That's it. And people ain't gonna join. At the end of the day, like recognizes like. And on this VIP day, there are women who are coming there specifically looking for vendors, partnerships, clients, coaches, consultants, podcasts that they can be guests on. Like, this is literally what the day is about.
That's good stuff right there.
So I am super excited. I know that
this thing that we're doing with Carl too.
I'm excited about the man thing. My mind is just blown. Yes, these are the things. This is the things that you work so hard for. Just going through it and just talking about it and seeing stuff come to fruition. I can get you because I'm still looking for that day. I remember just the path and the journey I'm taking from first mentioning vulnerable on LinkedIn like over 2 years ago, and I'm seeing the culmination of now I can just about go and someone somewhere on their post has it in there. And I know when I first started saying it, people was running from that. I was getting like the X's and canceled out of stuff and not asked to participate in things because I stayed with that. But I stayed true to what I am and who I am, and it's paying dividends and it's paying fruition to that. So the journey is real. If you stay true to who you are, what you want to do, the goals you have set for yourself, regardless of the naysayers, regardless of the gainsayers, you will come out on top. It's a winning thing. And I'm sure that Deana has put much into this. I'm excited about even what the women are bringing and the talent that's coming to the table. And it's not none of these put together for show kind of things. These people have dedicated the hard work, sweat, blood, and tears into getting this process up and available for you. Take advantage of it. Sign up, come in, bring your pad and pen. I tell everybody, bring your pad and pen. Don't come to anything I got without nothing to write nothing down with, because I'm going to give you something to write something down with. That's just how I bring it. And she's bringing that too. And I'm glad Charlene is in the mix with this. And it's just great. I'm going to be looking in. I'm going to be dabbing in. I'm going to open up the curtains and see. I'm going to definitely be picking it in, because the men, y'all turn is coming. Stand up, be proud. Yeah. Stand up and be proud, because it's
coming. It's coming. It's about to go down. It is about to go down. And Carl, I know that you work with men, but I know that especially because you talk about vulnerability, you have some powerhouse women in your network too, like Miss Charlie Brown. So we want to see your people in there too.
Yes, I'm going in after this is off, y'all. My network know how I do. I come and find you out. Like, you ain't gonna sit in my network and I don't have nothing to do for you.
You better raise your hand.
Yo, I'm like the professor. Yeah, I'm like the professor. We got assignments. Yes, my network, you have assignments. I will be putting posts out We will be putting information out. I will be taking names because you know that's how I do. I do like the old folks. If they paid $25 at church, they say your name and who paid it.
That's
so
it.
I'm letting you know right off the bat.
And on the screen, we want to thank you for contributing to the building fund.
That's it. The building fund, the usher fund, whatever fund it is, you build it to. You know they love to call your name out. I thank Sister Charlene for doing that.
Sister Charlene, we got some pound cake and some fruit punch downstairs for you.
Yo, this is how we do, guys. This is real talk. We have fun like this. This ain't manufactured. This is just who we are. And I'm just enjoying what we're bringing to the table for you guys. Deana's got oh man, I just can't even talk about it no more, which I'm going to on this show because we're running out of time. But I'm putting it in I'm letting you guys know we're going to get you information. We're going to give you sign up stuff. And she said August 1st. Today is the 28th? We only got a couple of days to get this for pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean? If Rockefeller told you about it, you would already be writing out the check. So I mean,
or if this was a seat at a Beyonce concert, y'all would have dropped.
You already would have had tickets. It'd been sold out already.
You wouldn't even thought about it. Like what? Like I'm there. Like I'm in there. Like so pretend you.
She ain't gonna help you do nothing, but she ain't gonna help you do nothing. She ain't gonna level you up. No way, no how. She ain't gonna tell you how she dropping them albums online instead of the producers getting it. So she's giving you information that's gonna level you up.
And Beyonce ain't gonna be in your network after you leave that concert.
Absolutely not.
You can't call her asking her for nothing. Have a good night on that.
Exactly. So come on now.
Oh, yes.
And before we end out for today, I also want Carl to give us a rundown of our guest tomorrow, because we're going to be on for our regular time, 10 o'clock tomorrow. So give us a little insight on Raleigh so folks can tune in.
Yes, please tune in.
He's another power connector too.
Yeah, this is a dude. This is a power connector dude. He's in that. He's in HR. He's the founder and he called it the CIO, the Chief Innovation Officer of his company and his HR Maximer Inc. And he's going to be on tomorrow. And this dude is a super duper connector. Not only is he a connector on the HR level with nurses and healthcare and things on that, big ups to those people that's doing that has kept us over the pandemic time. But this dude is also a technology whiz. I mean, on live streaming, broadcasts, live shows, podcasts. He's going to just be dropping gems so you can level up your personal self to be seen and visible. And this is the kind of thing which we really need in now, because the brick and mortar, you heard it here first. They're not going back to what they used to be. Folks is leveling up online. Folks is leveling up over Zooms. Folks is leveling up in their own way. And you ain't going to have to be able to go in the store no more. You're not going to need to go in the store anymore and purchase goods and services. You're going to be able to get them right at your doorstep. And he's going to show you how to do that. So he's going to be dropping gems. And I'm excited about him coming on tomorrow. He's our guest at 10 a.m. our regular time. 10 a.m. Yeah. Hit your reminder button because we bringing it back. Real talk. And reiterate right quick before we got to go. We've added that second day. We had a special announcement yesterday. I'm just recapping that. We had so many guests, and we're not turning anybody away. We ain't turning down none but our caller. So we told them that we're doing Tuesdays. Now is our special day. So we do Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. So you guys at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you guys, Carl and Charlene, and we got more gifts coming. We got more things coming. Y'all just stay there. Stay like they used to tell me as a little kid. Stay tuned. Don't turn that channel.
That's it. I love it. This is so great. I appreciate y'all so much.
Yes.
Is there anything that I can do? Charlene already knows. She got my cell phone.
Yes.
We're going to get this going.
But we got to get it up. V for vulnerability.
That's it. Anything I can do to help us support you and your community, please don't even hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely. And see, we cultivating that network, guys. You see, I ain't just calling Deana. I need you. You know what I mean?
How simple that was? That was quick. So Nadine, Doreen, Cassandra, thank you for communicating with us, dropping these comments, keeping the engagements going. And thank you everyone who has tuned in on the different channels and for the replays. If you have comments, please drop replay in your comments so we know when you came through. And we are excited to see you tomorrow and every single time, especially on New Day Tuesday. And I can't wait to see the new folks who roll through for VIP Day.
VIP. Y'all come and see it. Thank everybody again for coming and showing up. We are out, guys.
Bye, guys.